Welcome to the deep dive. If you've spent, any time trying to make stories or storyboards with AI, you definitely know the frustration.
Oh, yeah.
You finally get that character looking perfect, but then maybe their eyebrows shift or their freckles just vanish.
Or the jacket changes color. Happens all the time.
Exactly. The second you change the camera angle, it's gone. So our mission today is tackling what feels like the holy grail of generative AI.
Which is?
Creating characters that look exactly the same across every pose, every scene, every single video frame.
Yeah. That inconsistency, it's really the single biggest roadblock stopping AI storytelling from, going fully pro.
Right.
The whole industry's basically been relying on luck.
Right.
Just re-rolling prompts over and over until the AI happens to remember what your character looks like.
Which is not a strategy.
No, luck is not a workflow. So this deep dive, it's all about moving past just hoping the model remembers. It's about building structured, predictable ways to control it.
Control systems.
Exactly. We want to turn that kind of fuzzy character idea into a solid, reliable asset. Basically, an actor you can actually direct.
That's the key word, control. We've basically synthesized a whole bunch of really advanced multi-tool workflows. We're talking blending features from Midjourney, Ideogram, Seedream, custom training platforms too.
The cutting-edge stuff?
Yeah. We're going to give you the exact blueprint for getting that consistency, that fidelity. And we're starting right where everyone seems to stumble. Getting that first high-quality reference image locked down without making compromises right at the start.
Okay, so the first hurdle, right out of the gate, is something we call the prominence problem.
Prominence problem.
Yeah, think about how an AI model kind of allocates its visual attention, its focus. If you generate a character starting with, say, a super detailed, beautiful close-up face,
Okay.
the AI pours all its attention budget into getting those facial features just right.
Right, makes sense. But then when you try to expand that, maybe pull back for a full body shot.
That's exactly when the model just sort of panics, has to suddenly invent a skeleton anatomy close. And because all its focus was pinned on the face, the actual structure of the body just goes completely off the rails. You might get these amazing eyes, but the limbs are all distorted or the proportions are weird.
Okay, I've seen that. And what about the other way? If you start with a full body reference first.
Then the opposite happens. The facial details often end up looking, muddy or slightly asymmetrical. The features just aren't as prominent, right?
Right.
And those little defects, those slight distortions, they propagate.
Right.
If you use that first slightly flawed image as your reference for the next 50 images, you've basically poisoned the well before you even started shooting your scenes.
Yeah.
It's a massive efficiency killer.
Okay, so that's a big problem. How do we fix it?
That's why the absolute foundational step in the most effective workflows we're seeing is the dual image solution.
Dual image.
Yeah. The critical first step is generating one single image that reliably contains both things: a high-quality, high-prominence close-up face and a well-proportioned full-body reference, all at the same time.
Ah, I see. You force the model to balance its attention from the very beginning.
You got it. It bypasses that whole prominence issue right from the jump.
Wow, okay. That one hack the dual image, that really changes the whole approach, doesn't it?
Totally. And once you have that perfect single reference, you immediately move to generating motion. And that's where the character starts to become like the actor.
The actor, I like that analogy.
Precisely. You take those high-fidelity stills from your dual image, and you feed them into advanced video generation tools. And we're not just talking about, making the still image wiggle a bit.
Right, not just simple animation.
No.
Yeah.
We're generating movement that actually gives you control over your character in a kind of virtual 3D space. You can actually direct the character to perform pretty much any pose or expression reliably. It's way more accurate, way more controllable than just relying on, say, generic features like omnireference.
Okay, good point. Let's quickly define omnireference for anyone maybe not familiar. That's the slider or feature in tools like Midjourney or other image models.
Yeah.
That basically tells the AI, hey, look at this image and try to match everything,
Gotcha.
Especially the style and the subject.
Exactly. But the problem is, like we said, the everything part. It usually breaks down pretty fast under scrutiny, faces change, clothes shift.
Right.
But with this actor approach, you're extracting more underlying predictable motion data. And once you generate these videos, you don't just use the whole video clip necessarily.
You harvest.
You harvest the assets, yes.
Asset harvesting. That sounds like a real productivity multiplier.
It absolutely is. You pull out those perfect still frames from the videos you generated. Often you can just step through frame by frame using your browser's built-in video player, with the arrow keys,
Yeah.
to nail the exact pose you need for a specific scene. And the big payoff is that these stills are inherently consistent. They came from the same source model, the same motion data.
So you can reuse those consistent assets over and over again across a project.
Exactly. Saves hours of prompting down the line.
Okay, makes sense.
And one last crucial step in this foundational section, section 1, is prepping those assets for clean compositing later.
Ah, right, removing the background.
Yes, remove the background using good quality tools. Something like Adobe's free online Toolworks or Photoshop's Cloud Select Subject is pretty amazing.
And you mentioned doing this after upscaling?
Definitely do it after you upscale the still frames you harvested. That way you get really crisp, clean edges. It stops the character looking sort of fuzzy and pasted on when you drop your actor into a new background later.
Okay, so now we have our consistent actor and a library of sharp, clean poses ready to go. But even with the best starting assets, let's say we prompt that actor into a totally different scene, like maybe changing the lighting drastically from midday sun to some moody indoor noir setup.
Yeah, that's a common challenge.
Even cranking that omnireference slider all the way up often still gives you frustrating results, right? The character's face might shift slightly, or maybe more often the clothing just isn't quite right.
That's right. Omnireference has its limits. So this means we need more surgical tools. We need micro adjustment.
Okay, targeted fixes.
Exactly. And we rely on specialized tools for this kind of precision surgery. Let's start with swapping the face, but with high fidelity.
Right.
A key tool here is ideogram. It has a feature called Magic Fill, which is pretty powerful for this.
How does that work?
You take your new cinematic scene, the one with the great noir lighting, but maybe the face looks a bit off, and you can literally draw a selection, like a lasso, around just the character's head area.
Just the
head.
Yeah.
And then you swap in one of those high-fidelity reference faces we harvested earlier from our actor videos.
Ah, okay. And what's cool about that specific mechanism you were saying is that it's not just regenerating the whole head area and messing up the background lighting.
Precisely. It's smarter than that.
Really?
Some of these tools, they essentially do a very high-fidelity, like, face cutout and stick it onto the target image. It adjusts skin tone, features, but crucially preserves the underlying scene elements, like the shadows cast on the face from the scene.
Wow.
This means you maintain incredible facial fidelity, keeping details like, freckles or specific wrinkles perfectly intact, while making sure the cinematic lighting and composition of that target scene stay perfect.
That is brilliant. Okay, face sorted. I mean, you mentioned the outfit is often the next battleground.
Definitely. You've got the face looking perfect now, but maybe that denim jacket your character was wearing in the training data has somehow morphed into like a leather trench coat in the new scene. So for consistent clothing, we need to switch tools again. We transition to tools that specifically support multimodal references.
Yeah.
Something like Seedream, which you can access via FreePick, is good for this.
Okay, so this is a very deliberate, targeted tool handoff. We trust ideogram for the face swap, but maybe not for getting the clothes exactly right.
Exactly right. Seedream, for this clothing task, needs 2 specific reference images. First, you give it 1, the target image, the one that now has the perfectly swapped face.
Okay.
And then 2, you give it a second reference image that shows only the specific item of clothing you want, like maybe a clean shot of that original denim jacket, perhaps highlighting a unique emblem or something.
Gotcha. 2 inputs.
Yeah. And you instruct the multimodal model Seedream, in this case, to basically match the clothing from image 2 onto the character in image 1. This ensures the outfit is exactly the same, even across wildly different scenes.
Okay, face perfect, outfit perfect. But now you might have this perfectly detailed character who maybe looks a little pasted into the scene. The lighting might feel a bit disjointed.
That's the final polish step. Exactly. You have to make the character look like they were actually photographed in that scene, not just patched in after the fact.
Compositing.
That's where compositing comes in, yeah. If the lighting on the swapped character feels off compared to the environment, you can use a tool like, say, Photoshop Beta. It has a feature called Harmonize.
Harmonize.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It uses AI to automatically analyze the lighting and color grading of the background scene, and then applies that same lighting and color to the swapped element of your character.
Oh, wow.
It blends them together for a much more natural, believable final look. So you see the progression. We went from a dual image foundation to a perfect face swap to a perfect outfit match, and now to a perfectly lit, fully integrated character asset.
Okay, we just covered fixing individual frames with incredible precision. But what if you're not just fixing one or two shots? What if you're directing, say, a bigger project and you need to generate maybe 50 different scenes, maybe across 10 different outfits and settings?
Yeah, editing frame by frame isn't scalable for that.
Exactly. That's when you need to stop just editing and start training the AI. This is where we really level up to achieving consistency at scale. And that often starts with the concept of a LoRa.
Right, a LoRa. LoRa stands for low rank adaptation. It's basically a tiny, teeny, tiny custom model
Okay.
that you sort of attach to a big foundational AI model like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion. Think of it like adding specialized muscle memory to the main AI brain.
Muscle memory for my character.
Exactly. It teaches the larger AI model what your specific character is supposed to look like,
Yeah.
but in a very constrained, focused way.
Okay, that makes sense. And what makes a good training set for one of these LoRa's? We saw some specific recommendations, like on platforms such as Higgsfield Sol.
Yeah, platforms like Higgsfield Sol are designed specifically for users to train their own custom characters. And the quality of your input images is absolutely everything.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Totally. You need a collection of really varied, high-quality photos of your character, anywhere from maybe 5 good shots up to maybe 25. And crucially, they can't all be close-ups. You need to include distant perspectives, too,
Why distant shots?
to give the LoRa context about the character's actual height, their overall size, how their clothing hangs or wrinkles when seen from further away.
Yeah.
It builds a more complete picture.
Gotcha. And we also noted Higgsfield Sol has a bit of a niche, right? It specializes in what they call UGC-style content.
Yeah, that's their thing. User-generated content style. It mimics that natural, high-quality, but maybe slightly casual look you get from, like, good smartphone photography.
Right.
And training with that style can give you character fidelity that holds up better when you try to apply different artistic styles later on.
Interesting. Okay, so LoRa training is powerful, but sounds like it takes a bit of setup.
Yeah.
Are there faster ways to get character reference working across different prompts?
Yeah, beyond full LoRa training, there are faster multimodal reference approaches using some of these newer, really powerful image models. Take Nano Banana, for instance.
Nano Banana.
Yep. It's excellent for really fast iteration using just a single hero reference photo.
Just one photo.
Just one really good one. That single consistent starting point lets you create a whole story, generating lots of different camera angles, low angles, side profile, top-down view, all while keeping the characters look much more consistent than just using generic reference inputs and other tools.
Okay, that's fast. And this is where the idea of context really expands, right? Especially when moving between different models.
Hugely important. The training data you provide, or even just the reference image, is everything. For example, if you do train a LoRa on a platform like, say, Flux, which is accessible via FreePic, you can actually tag that custom LoRa model you created with a specific unique keyword. Let's say you use a @rog.
Okay, like a secret code for my character.
Exactly. That tag becomes your character's identity lock. You could then use that specific tag at @rog with different image models later on, not just the one you trained it on. You could potentially use it with Nano Banana or maybe Flux itself.
And that locks in the character.
It locks in the character and often even specific clothing items that were prominent in the training data, no matter how complex the rest of your prompt gets when describing the new scene. You've essentially created a persistent, portable character identity that travels across tools. All right, so once you have a consistent character established, maybe via a LoRa or a strong reference workflow, your role really shifts from being just an editor to being more of a director.
Makes sense.
And controlling complex compositions in action, especially for generating video, requires really structured prompting. You need to be clear to ensure your AI actor performs reliably within the scene you're building.
Okay, structure is key. Is
Yeah.
there a recommended prompt structure for video?
Yeah, the master prompt structure we see working best for video is pretty straightforward, but really critical for avoiding like instability or weird blurry results. It generally follows subject plus action plus scene setting plus style lighting plus camera instructions.
Subject, action, scene, style, camera. Got it.
You're essentially giving the AI explicit orders for both its actor and its virtual camera operator, all layered together clearly.
Okay. And what about for generating consistent still images across lots of different complex scenarios? You mentioned using models like Nano Banana, maybe integrated with something like ChatGPT.
Right. For that, a 3-part master prompt template seems to work wonders for maintaining visual consistency.
2 parts.
Yeah. Part 1 is the variable section. This is where you define the specific environment or location for this shot, and maybe the character's clothing or their role in that scene. This part changes often.
Okay, the flexible part.
Well, part 1 is variable. Part 2 is the flexible section. This is where you control the character's pose or stance or maybe describe some specific motion. Or you could even tell it to try and maintain the pose from a reference.
Okay, variable, flexible, and part 3.
Part 3 is the fixed section. This is the secret sauce. This is the part of the prompt you never change across all your generations for that project.
Never change it.
Never. It contains the core instructions that ensure, say, photorealistic integration, consistent cinematic lighting, seamless blending, maybe a specific film grain, whatever defines the core look.
Ah, I get it. So by always keeping that core instruction set absolutely constant.
Exactly. You maintain the overall visual style and consistency, even if your character suddenly goes from being in a cafe in part 1 to being on the moon wearing a spacesuit. The look stays consistent because part 3 is fixed.
That's really smart. Okay, now we're getting into some really advanced territory. You mentioned an absolute power user hack for consistency at scale, the batch editing breakthrough, using something called the image rag workflow.
Yes, this is pretty next level stuff. It solves that incredibly frustrating problem of needing to make small, subtle, but consistent fixes across your entire library of generated assets without accidentally ruining the character's identity in the process.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What is it? Stitched images?
Exactly. We leverage stitched images or grids, basically putting multiple frames, maybe 5 or more, side by side into one single image file.
Okay.
Because traditionally, if you tried to fix something small on just one single image, like maybe you need to add a consistent bruise that appears across several scenes, or fix the fidelity of a recurring tattoo that keeps getting messed up,
Yeah.
you'd often have to use an erase tool or inpainting, and the model, seeing only that one image, would frequently just forget the character's underlying identity and regenerate the whole face, often incorrectly.
Right, that's the danger zone. Erasing often breaks consistency, but using the grid, you're editing multiple versions at the same time.
Think of it like this. Instead of giving your AI surgeon just one X-ray of the patient, you're giving it 5 X-rays, showing the character from slightly different angles or in slightly different moments, all at once in that grid.
Ah.
By editing that stitched grid, maybe using inpainting on the bruise across all 5 images simultaneously, the AI has significantly more context built in. It understands the character's ground truth, their identity, their structure, much better.
So when you make that subtle edit,
The model understands the fix needs to apply to the underlying character concept represented across the grid, not just the pixels in that one spot on one image. This dramatically improves consistency for those subtle fixes that would normally break a single image generation.
wow. Okay, that's a genuine breakthrough for workflow.
Yeah.
Fixing 5 images at once with more context. And finally, the last piece, the quality pipeline, getting maximum resolution.
Yeah, this is the level 4, power user quality hack.
Yeah.
Because detail really matters, especially if you're aiming for professional output.
So what's the sequence?
It's a multi-step upscaling sequence. Step 1, take your original consistent AI-generated image and upscale it first. Use a dedicated image upscaler like Topaz Gigapixel or Magnific AI. Get maximum detail in the still.
Okay, upscale the still first.
Step 2, generate your AI video from that high-resolution upscaled image.
Right. Feed the best quality in.
Step 3, take the resulting AI video and upscale it again, this time using a dedicated video upscaler like Topaz Video AI.
Upscale a video too.
Yes, this ensures maximum sharpness and detail not just in the stills but throughout the motion. It makes sure your final product looks as crisp and detailed as, modern digital cinematography demands. Double upscaling image, then video. Hashtag tag outro.
Wow. Okay, we just covered a lot. A really comprehensive multi-platform strategy for achieving character consistency in AI. It's definitely clear this isn't about finding one single magic button, is it?
No, absolutely not. It's really about strategically layering the right tools to solve very specific problems at key points in the workflow.
Right.
The foundational takeaway, I think, is reclaiming control. You need those specific layers working together, that dual image solution to nail the initial quality and bypass the prominence problem. Using something like Ideogram for that really high fidelity face maintenance, then switching to maybe C-Dream to ensure the clothing matches exactly across scenes.
Yeah.
And then for scaling up corrections, that batch editing technique using stitched images or grids, that's the ultimate tool right now for subtle, consistent fixes across huge projects. And of course, LoRa's for locking in identity at the start.
For me, the big aha moments were really understanding the why behind the dual reference image, how it manages the model's attention budget. That And the sheer power of fixing 5 images simultaneously using a grid for context, those feel like real game changers for creators working at scale.
Yeah, definitely. And, this all raises a really important practical question for you, the listener, as you start thinking about implementing these kinds of advanced pipelines.
Okay.
While the creative control you unlock with these complex multi-tool workflows is truly remarkable. I mean, you can generate scenes now that were basically impossible before. They often do require juggling several different platforms at the same time.
Sure.
And each often has its own credit system or subscription model, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might be using Nano Banana, Ideogram, FreePic for Seedream, maybe Topaz for upscaling Photoshop. It adds up.
It can, yeah.
So the provocative thought to leave you with is this. What is the optimal balance for you between the time you save by avoiding frustrating manual iteration, the incredibly high quality you can achieve with these detailed fixes, and the accumulating cost, both in money for credits and subscriptions, and maybe even just the mental overhead of managing these complex multi-layered workflows?
That economic trade-off, cost versus quality versus time saved, that's definitely something everyone needs to chew on as these powerful tools become more and more essential. Great point to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into consistent character creation.
My pleasure.
We'll catch you next time.